problem is this gear cannot be removed because of the cutout here, or the way the winch is sunk into the fiberglass. The mold of the boat should allow this to open, which it doesn't. The only other way for me to do this would be to fully pull the winch off of the boat and then rebed it. That wasn't in my plans today. I guess what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try and drop some oil onto the pawls there and then lightly re-grease, and then I'll slide a little bit of grease into the bearings, and then that'll have to do for this side. Unfortunately, I can't pull it out and clean it as I would want to. All right, next step is to clean all the internal parts. We're gonna put these in a little bit of diesel fuel and hit them with a toothbrush. We'll also wipe them down with a rag. And I've got another little trick to get some more grease off that has some Q-tips and some wooden sticks. Basically what we want to do here is get rid of all the old grease, because the old grease picks up dirt and metal parts and holds those pieces of dirt inside, and they become essentially like sandpaper on the gears. So we can replace it with new fresh grease that doesn't have any contaminants in it. Other than diesel fuel, which is really cheap, we could also be using a commercial degreaser. Another way we could do this if we weren't doing it on the boat, if we had a shop nearby, is to use a parts washer. Next steps, I'm going to dry off all these parts as much as I can. We want to get the solvent off. We know that that diesel fuel can break down the grease a little bit, so we want to get rid of most of it as much as we can. So now it's time to put our gear stack back together. As we do that, we want to take care of a few things. If we notice, we look at the edges on these, see if they're worn too badly. They look okay. They're not perfectly sharp. They've got a little bit of a bevel, but they're not broken. I think they've got a few more miles on them. Okay, so next up, let's rebuild our gear stack here. Because we've taken all this grease away, I'm gonna take a little bit of grease and slide him on the inside here. Just a light coating is all that you really need. Brush it on the outside and a bit on the inside, and then we'll slide this right inside there. One thing that we're going to do is replace the springs. The springs, if you ask me, are just cheap insurance. Hold it in the correct way. These are just going to slide right in. They're a little tricky to get in there. Sometimes you want to use your fingernail. Kind of slide that in. Slide my bearings in. I dropped out. All right. Now, before I move any further, I want to take a little bit of grease. I want to grease inside here. I'm going to do a small smudge of grease on the outside here. You really don't want the grease on the pawls. So now we're going to take this, slide him in there, without dropping the bearings out. All right, so this gear stack is now ready to go back in. Slide right in there. Take a little more grease. All right, let's put the top part together. So you can see here, there's a chamfer or an angle that's down. Okay, we've got our basics of the internals back together. Now it's time to grease the gears, and we're going to do that with the winch handle in, make it a little bit easier to spin those gears for us. Right. Now we want to inspect right in here and do a little bit of cleaning as well. Alright, now we can slide the top back on. Watch your fingers, especially with these big stainless steel winches. One thing, you want to make sure your self-tailer is aligned where you want it. I don't know if you can see on the other side of the boat. about halfway in. Want to make sure we set up our tailer in this groove on top of the slot.
Hello, good morning.
There's our winch. We're all set and finished.